there, and happy International Scrapbook Day to you all. This is Natalie, and I am very excited to be joining you in the celebration. Today, we're going to be working on a traveler's notebook layout using one of the newest partners to scrapbooking in cars today, and this is 49 and Market. I received a package containing the Kaleidoscope collection and also the Crafty Gardener, and I'm going to show you an idea with the Kaleidoscope, but I did create a layout with the other collection that pretty much is going to be based on the idea of embellishing your layouts, in this case a traveler's notebook. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick up papers from the 6x8 paper pack from the Kaleidoscope collection, and I went with papers that had very little detail in them, but that actually had interest. So having little detail in it doesn't mean that I don't want to design. It just means that I am going to find a base that is going to make my pictures and the embellishments pop. That means that I want to get with something that has more of a solid background, something that is not as busy. So you're going to see the one on the right, the one that I'm cutting right now, I'm trimming my papers to 5x8 inches because my traveler's notebook, I have a little album. It fits on a standard traveler's notebook page, which is 4¼ by 8. So I've trimmed my papers. The one on the right, like I said, it has like a watercolor background. It has all the colors of the collection. The one on the left, which is going to house my title and my landscape journal, has more of a plain look to it, but it had like a heavy column of design. Since I'm trimming my paper to 5 inches, I was able to trim that down, and I have more of a clean basis that still has that enough what was detail on the background to bring everything forward. So now that I have that ready, one of the things that this collection also contains were frames, and the frames actually come with layering papers for the back. So I'm going to take advantage of two of those frames. One is going to sit on the left and become my journaling and my title pocket, and one on the right is going to help me anchor my pictures to the layout. So outside of the camera, I actually kind of auditioned a few pieces, and then but I haven't glued anything. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk to you why I'm pulling this together. So you're going to see that I have my two pictures. I have one that is in color and the second one is in black and white, just because there was a lot of different colors next to it. So I wanted to make sure that I took away all those colors for the bottom picture so that I can use the colors of the collection and make the embellishments pop. So like I said, I auditioned the embellishments a little bit outside of the camera, but I haven't glued. So I'm going to talk to you as I get along. First thing I'm going to do is I need to add extra interest to this page. So I'm going to go with the ribbons that come in this collection. I really love this title. The little sentiment at the top is something that I really caught my eye. It kind of looks like a little burst with a sentiment in the middle. So the first thing that I did is I stapled the ribbon to the backing piece, making sure that I did not cut any of the picture, like any of the phrases when I staple. Once I have that, I know that the papers are not going to move. Then I'm going to be careful to trim just the sentiment or that image that I want without disturbing the rest of the ribbon. Once I have it ready, I'm going to go ahead, set it on my paper. You saw that at the beginning, I make sure that I had an idea where everything was going to sit. That's what I auditioned pieces outside of the camera so that I knew I had like an idea where everything is going to sit. Because once you put a ribbon onto your paper, you cannot take it out. So I had to like kind of have a guesstimation where was the picture going to sit so I can put my ribbon on place. Once I have that, then I'm going to talk to you about how I went into creating the cluster of embellishments. So I have a frame that is going to serve as kind of the anchor for this page. However, whenever you think of a frame, it needs something behind it to anchor it to the page. So I went into the laser cut pieces, and there was this little paper that looks like there were little pieces of paper kind of layered behind, and it has a little bit of like leaves and butterflies to the side. So I want to kind of create a little bit of an offset. I am creating movement by just not layering the frame right on top of the paper, but kind of moving it a little bit. I'm adding a little bit of interest to the background. First of all, I am making the length of the page, instead of going sideways, I'm making like elongating it so that I'm giving that movement to the pictures. Once I set my pictures in place, one of the things you have to keep in mind is that when you add the frame, there's a little bit of dimension section behind, like, between the layers. So I added a piece of cardstock that I just trimmed from the side of this page behind my pictures to make up for that. So my pictures lay flat on the page. Now, when I created this little part of my cluster, there were some leaves with a little hummingbird that was showing on the left hand side of the frame. So I'm gonna cover this. I don't want to have the hummingbird. So it gives me the perfect placement to create my cluster. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring more of the leaf, and I'm using the laser cut floral elements for this. I just went with something that had a little pop of red to match the little pop on the burst at the top right corner of the layout. Then I'm going to bring a little it's like a stamp, a seal, and it's like I said, I have all the laser cut elements, and then I'm gonna bring one of the hearts, and I'm going for the green because I want to emphasize that area of the color where the picture is sitting. So I set that on the side, I had glued that in place, and then I'm gonna move to the top. I'm gonna go back again to the top right corner. So since I have that kind of that little branch coming out, and you see the little bit of the leaves on the background of the picture, I'm gonna use that kind of the anchor or the idea to just continue the leaf. Think of it as a branch of that is sitting behind that green heart and moving behind my pictures. So I went into the mini laser cut elements, and I pull a small branch that's going to curve into the picture without covering my face or anything in the picture. I'm just going to tuck it lightly underneath my photo. Then I went into, there is a set of like enamel sentiments, and I just added a little one that says create. These two pictures here are one of my live sessions. I usually take pictures whenever I create a live session just because I love to document everything. And I love the fact that as I am creating my clusters, I am also playing with dimension and size. You got to think about size too. As you can see, I have a heavy element at the bottom of my layout already, and where that green heart is at. And as I am creating my cluster, I am making it seem as if the branch is moving up. Usually when you think about that, the branch will become smaller as it goes up. So my butterflies have to also be smaller. So I pull these two little butterflies from the vellum sticker roll, which is amazing. I'm going to tell you that is one of the most amazing things that I got on the box. So my page is pretty much set out. I'm going to set it to the side, and I'm going to start working on my title journaling page. So because I have like a lot of embellishment on this page, I have a lot of elements, I have my pictures, I don't want to make it super heavy. So one of the things that I'm going to do, especially because I want certain things to pop. In this case, I want my pictures to pop. I want the embellishments to pop. So I'm going to choose to actually create a pocket using the larger frame to house my journaling in it. So I am layering a piece of vellum, sorry, behind my frame. So I just added a little bit of glue to the back of the frame, and I'm just gluing a piece of vellum. I'm going to trim it to size. Once I have that, I am actually going to run, this is Thermal Web iCraft red tape. I'm going to run it to the bottom, to the right and left of the frame, and just the bottom, the thick part of the frame, just to create my pocket. I am not going to close like all four sides. I'm going to close just the three. Think I'm creating a U in this case. So once I have that, I am not going to glue it onto my page until I don't create kind of my journaling piece. For that, I am using the layer piece that comes with the frame pack, and I'm going to trim it to 6 inches in height by 3 and I think it's 1/8 in width. And I cut it a little bit smaller than the width of the tag so that I can pull it in and out, sorry, easily off the pocket. So it's just gonna take me 1 second until that you're gonna see me create that. But once I have that, I know that because this tag is gonna be behind the vellum, you're still gonna be able to see through it, but you also need to be able to pull it out. That means that you're gonna need to add some interest onto this tag. So one of the best ways that I think you can create interest to your tag, first of all, is I am going to use ribbons and I'm going to type my journaling outside of the camera and just attach it to it after. So I want to again into the ribbon pack, and there's actually sentiments. So I'm going to cut the word today. I'm gonna cut the word good times because I thought it was good times today. I thought it was a good title for this, for the journaling part. So I'm gonna trim them. Nothing is glued onto my little journaling card or tag, whatever you want to call it. Nothing is glued. I'm just moving stuff around until I'm happy with it. And I also don't want to leave my tag plain. Even though, like I said, it's going to be hidden by the pocket, by the vellum, you're still going to be able to see through it. And because my background is more on the kind of plainer side, I know that I can add interest to it. So again, I'm going to choose a ribbon. Is a great way to add color and interest to your pages without adding bulk. So make sure you check them out. I am choosing this one that again kind of mimics the watercolor that I have on the right hand side of the layout, and it actually kind of has all the colors. So I'm just gonna play with my ribbon until I'm happy where like everything sits. Because I typed my journaling and I printed on clear um, label paper, I am able to just stick and peel, and it's gonna be see-through. So whatever I put on the background is gonna show through. So all I'm doing is just placing my ribbon at the bottom of the journaling card. You're gonna see that I'm gonna be careful to just use my little kind of little stick that comes in the ribbon. And you're gonna know when the ribbon works when you put it down, and you're gonna see that it goes matte, and you literally slowly just lift it up and you see that it's sticking to the paper. Then just keep like rubbing lightly until everything just literally just sticks and peels. As easy as that. And he brings so much interest in such an easy way. Think of a way of cheating mixed media. That's the best way that I can explain it. Simple, effective, but like I said, be sure that you know exactly where you're gonna sit it, because once it goes down, it is hard to like peel it off. So it just is the only thing you have to think about it. So I've added some interest to the bottom of my journaling card. I'm gonna use the other half at the top. So it's okay if some pieces of it are like, it looks like it's broken and it's not gonna be completely filled. That's okay. Remember, the paper as itself has already that mixed media quality to it that I totally love. Because again, like I said, it's like, think of it as you are like becoming an artist in an easy way. So I'm just following the same idea of just rubbing. It's gonna sound redundant, but rubbing the ribbon onto the paper. Once I have it like in place, whatever's left over, the pieces, there's little dots, like little splashes of the watercolor. I'm just going to play around just to fill the empty spaces. You don't have to fill the entire tag. All I'm doing is, again, I'm going with the idea of framing my lines of journal. And I have the little bit of blue that was left over. I know that I need to add it to my page because I need to bring all those colors here into this tag. So once I have like all the colors, and I'm gonna be careful, like there's little splashes, I'm gonna move it throughout the little tag just to make sure that it has that look. Once I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and actually add my journaling. Like I said, I printed my journaling on the computer onto clear label paper. So it's peel and stick, and I'm just gonna place it right on the center, and you're gonna see once I put it, it's gonna be on top of the ribbon. It's not gonna take it out. You will still be able to see the details of like the mixed media and like quote unquote on the background, but you'll be able to read everything that I added. Then I'm gonna add kind of like the journaling title. So I'm using the word today. I'm gonna follow again. I'm just gonna rub it. The beauty of the ribbons is that actually it can go on top of any surface. So in this case, I am putting it in the area which goes between the paper and the little label paper, and you don't see the seams. It just works like butter on the paper. And then I'm gonna add the word good times right on top of today. The only thing you don't see in the camera is because I did it after I didn't realize it that I didn't tape, is that I added a little butterfly to the bottom. You see that little like that looks like a little color wheel at the bottom of the tag. I added a butterfly right on that center dot. And I just used one of the ribbons because I knew, like I said, I don't want to add dimension or texture or anything on the tag because I want to make sure that it's easy to pull in and out. So a rubbing is a great solution for this. So I have this pretty much my tag, like my journaling's ready. So now that I have that, I can go ahead and actually glue my pocket onto my page. And, like I said, there's a little bit of space between the glue and the edge of the tag. So it's going to make it super easy to pull it in and out. Maybe the first or second time you might have a little bit of hard time because it's fresh. Some of the, one of the things is when you add a rubbing, it has a kind of a little bit of like, think of it like an adhesive. So you're going to let it dry and then it's easy to like just pull in and out. So I'm going to go ahead and start securing these onto the page. I am going to bring a ruler. I didn't do that much on the right hand side. I am going to add it here just because I want to make sure that it's not crooked and it actually, again, it's going to be ish. One of the things about this 49er market is that it's a very layerable kind of vintage look to it. So some pieces are not super like cut straight, so gives you that ish factor that it just makes it so much easier to just put together. You can just play around. It gives you that little wiggle room to play around with pieces. So now that I have that, you're gonna see I'm just going to slide my tag inside, and now it's all about just adding a title to this layout. So for that, I am actually going to go ahead into creating a cluster of embellishments. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the chipboard pieces that come, in this kit. So I have, these are the chipboard words, another one, the chipboard set. So the chipboard set, it actually has like little pieces of like ephemeras and frames and butterflies and things like that. And the chipboard words actually has words and sentiments. So I'm using the chipboard words for the word always. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I already have like quite a bit of texture going on. I am actually going to take quite a bit of the chipboard behind the word. I'm just using my nail and I carefully just peeling off a few layers of the paper or the chipboard. So it's going to take a little bit of the texture out, some of the dimension too, because the next sentiment that I'm going to add to it is actually a chipboard piece. So it's going to add quite a bit of height. So I'm just going to take some pieces of the of the chipboard. It sounds very redundant, but that's actually the perfect line. And I'm just going to glue it straight onto the bottom section of the frame. You see that thick part of the frame? I'm going to glue it right there. And it's okay if it covers some of the vellum because my tag can be pulled in and out. But I'm going to make sure that even though I'm gluing my title at the bottom, it is not going to cover the all the journaling. So you still be able to read through it if you want to. So now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and like I glue the word always. I'm going to add that little sentiment right on the bubble of the Y. So now here's where we're going to go into just mimicking the cluster. And when I looked at it, I was like, okay, what do I want to create? And here's where like, a little bit of ingenuity is gonna come into play. So my idea is I wanna, like, remember how I said on the right hand side I had the idea of the branch kind of going around my pictures. So I'm working with perspective. So you see how on the right I have that green heart, and then as my butterflies move to the top right corner of the layout, they become smaller. So to kind of create the idea of the branch going all through the page, I'm going to go with a larger scale on the left. So I went into the laser cut elements and I found this large leaf, which has like, it looks like a branch, and I'm going to put it to the left hand side of the always. I'm going to bring flowers that match the same colors of the ones on the right, but that are more in bloom. So they're a little bit bigger to give you the impression that it's like that's the starting base and it moves to the right. And then having all those elements in the edge actually kind of builds the idea of like, having that complete branch look. I added a few more elements just because I wanted another little stamp seal look. I wanted a camera. I added, again, some butterflies. I have all these enamel dots. So I'm just going to add them to add little pops of color. The one thing that I added is in the laser cut elements, there's actually little bows. So I went and put something green because I just want to kind of create my little triangle, and I added to the top of the journaling card, but making sure that the little tails of the bow did not go into the tag but stayed outside, so it's able, like, you won't have anything damaged when you pull it in and out your tag. And like I said, all I'm doing right now is just adding a few pops of color through the enamel dots, and I really love how this turned out. And you're gonna see that the papers are beautiful. There's quite a bit of elements, but there's also a little notion on how you go about and do it. In this case, I'm working with perspective in a way that I'm going from big to small, from left to right. I am making sure that you're gonna see that I'm repeating the same elements. So I have the same leaf and the flowers. I have pops of green. I have a little bit of black. I'm repeating kind of that pop of red in every single one of my clusters. I'm bringing the same enamel dots. I'm bringing a little sentiment to each one of the corners. And just like, one of the easiest ways that like I said, to add mixed media and interest here is through robins. I am taking advantage of that just to help me embellish a little bit extra with that, adding the dimension. And love how that turned out. So very simple, like I said, having the journaling, being able to also, like, decorate that and kind of like confine the look, like, in making this page, even though it's like, it's not busy, by just making it like breathe a little bit more, I'm just going to encase it. And you're going to see here's like the other layout. And I'm using the same idea of clustering and repeating colors and elements in a different format. Same idea, same look. Just I'm using the Crafty Garden collection for this. And I went with, like, again, big clusters of ephemera. There's acetate pieces on this, but it's the exact same idea. And that's about it. I hope you actually enjoyed this and it gives you a few ideas. You're gonna see right now, you're gonna see a little close-ups of the first layer, and I just used whatever was left over in my stash, plus a little bit of the new collection. And here are the close-ups of the layout I just created. Like I said, I love the colors. Having working with robins is a good idea to add a little touch of mixed media, easy mixed media, and interest to your background. I am repeating my embellishment clusters in a cluster form. I am repeating elements, and having the journal in like a kind of a pocket just makes this layout breathable, gives it some fresh air, gives it some space, so everything pops nicely separately and together. And I hope you enjoy this. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. And thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day, guys. Take care.